he wants us to note that not everything you see we consider to be bad. Sometimes some things, there is no other way other than sloughing something off, getting rid of something, or big shifts or changes taking place in order for another path to be presented. Sometimes there has to be friction in order to produce another path. Hello, hello. Welcome to my page, Kristin Davies, here through Facebook. We're going to be delving in off the deep end with Archangel Michael. I found it kind of interesting that he even wanted to talk about this kind of topic. But if we look at Archangel Michael over many years here on Earth, if we believe in linear time, he's seen it all. He really has. Now, this isn't a topic that I would have thought of or that would have interested me. Wartime has existed when others do not get along, where power mongering and control from the elitists get out of control. The power must be shared, not just given to a few. Balance must be maintained so that peace, love, and joy can flourish here. War is at times a necessary evil, as you may call it. So he wouldn't call it that, but that's something that we can associate with. Oh yeah, it's a necessary evil. We understand what that means, and that's why he's used that terminology. For when there is no coming together of minds or agreeing with one another, agreeing what is right, what is wrong, growing up with different ideologies, belief systems, religions, faiths. This can turn things on their head. And so my message to each of you is this. In this perfect world within one's imaginings, okay, so if you can imagine your most perfect world, is what he's saying, okay, in which I too would love to see unfold upon Earth in this free will zone. The world would be a peaceful, loving, joyous planet to continue incarnating to. So do you note here that he's just reminding us that this is a free will zone? And as it is a free will zone, we are the ones making decisions. We are the ones making the decisions, the choices, right? So we run this. Who runs the world? We do, okay? A lot of sense, if you want to say it like that. However, at this stage in the progression of the souls incarnating here to Earth, it will take more time to fulfill these ideas of producing a peaceful free will zone. Okay, so it's going to take some more time. Know that I am always here by your side. Know that you did not choose to come to Earth in vain. Okay. Each of you are fulfilling all of and most definitely part of your soul's mission and purpose here. So even if you get to the end of this lifetime, you're like, did I fulfill my life's mission? Did I fulfill my life's purpose? He's telling you right here that you most definitely are fulfilling part of. So you've definitely got good amounts of your life's purpose fulfilled. And for some of us, all of, okay? So it's all good. Know that the future brings about more chaos, imbalances, in which only you can course correct by speaking up, by voicing yourself, by championing your causes. And know this, no one can take your power. Where there is a will, there is a way. This is Archangel Michael. Some of us on Earth, we think it's maybe easier to like kind of hold back and not voice ourselves. And that is something that we need to have a look at and determine in the moment. If we don't voice ourselves, what happens is we stuff our emotions down and we don't get them up and out of ourselves. And then one of two things is going to happen. One, your team is going to have to come and get it up and out of you, okay? Because if you stuff that stuff down for far too long, it becomes quite heavy, and then you carry that for the duration of your lifetime, that heavy energy. Two, you complain, talk to your team about the stuff that's brewing and that you're carrying. So then when you complain to them, they will then take it up and out of you. They actually love it when we do this. I highly recommend it. When you're alone in the car, when you're alone at home, when you're out in the forest, whenever you feel like it's a good time and you can pace, you can punch a pillow, you can raise your voice if you want to. I'm not much of a voice raiser myself. However, sometimes I can kind of get myself going and then I'll really raise my voice. And the good thing about it is I'm getting it up and out of me so that I'm not carrying the weight of all those unsaid things that are now weighing me down more and more and more over time. And the other thing that they love to do is when we complain, they're not just transmuting the heaviness into the light. They're actually going, okay, she's complaining. And then they step forward and assist you and help you with what you're complaining about. Start really listing it off. Things that you're angry about, pissed off about, what's really bothering you. You can't ignore it. You can't ignore it. So if you feel like in your local region that you need to speak up, that's what Archangel Michael is saying. If we don't speak up and we just allow the elitists to have their way, they will have their way. Digital currency is one of these things. When you know that the populace isn't going to agree to digital currency, which will have full access and control of your bank account, I find it really funny when people are like, what? People are still using money? What's going to happen if we are moved into a digital currency and the system fails? Or they decide to just stop you from purchasing certain items or traveling in certain directions, certain locations. Sorry, can't travel there. Or you speak up against the government, or you speak up against whomever. You think that they're not going to what? Freeze your bank account? Think about it. What's going to happen? So these are like real things that are coming around the pipe. And so if you look at a lot of the immigrants that are flooding into the countries, what are they going to be paid with? They're going to be put into a digital currency system. So yeah, they want as many in as possible. Yeah, if you can do bartering or trading, the other ways are cash or Bitcoin or gold, silver, purchasing maybe oil. Well, I think it's just going to be like this tug of war that's going to go on for a time. And, you know, I'm even seeing farmers are having a hard time farming. So, for example, with the carbon tax that's applied on the farmers, now the carbon tax in Canada, for example, is going to triple by the end of 2024. The farmers are going to have to what? What will happen? They may not be able to farm. So I know there's mushroom farmers. They need to keep the inner sanctum of the mushrooms warmer. So the heating costs, they can't afford the heating costs to grow mushrooms. Food costs will go up. They're going to go up and up and up. So if we don't have us speaking up or voicing changes, we won't be able to afford certain foods, or maybe we just won't see certain foods on the shelves. If it feels really flat and stagnant, maybe hang back. Like if you don't feel a pull or a draw to go to a rally or speak up about something, but if you feel like you can't stop thinking about it and you feel a pull towards it, it's really important to say something. I remember, here's an example of this. My uncle, he was having issues with alcoholism. He had fallen before and no. He knew if once you get into the ambulance, now you're under the jurisdiction of the hospital and you're not going to get out easily. And he knew he had alcoholism. So one day he had fallen again and he had a cut on his forehead. At the time, I had a cold. And his son came over and said, no, you guys got to come over. And we're like, what? He fell again. Like, we were almost like shrugging it off, like he's done this before. Something came over me. And I had a cold at the time, so it must have been bowling me over pretty good. And who was it? Who guided me to go over next door? It was God. And I could feel God channeling through the top of my head. And I felt very peaceful and very loving, like a lot of love, okay? More than I normally would feel. So we went over next door. Ambulance drivers were there, the paramedics. I just felt this overwhelming feeling flood through me. And I put my hand on his shoulder and I said, you know, we're all here because we love you and we want you to get help. We just want you to get taken, you know, we want you to get the proper care. And we're here because we love you. And then in that moment, I think source flooded through me into him. And then he agreed to go into the ambulance. And he agreed to go in the hospital. Now he broke out of the hospital. He went into the hospital with no shorts, or he only had pants. He broke out of the hospital with shorts on. So I think he must have stole the shorts from the person next to him in the room. And so he gets out of the hospital. And at one point we catch him roaming around the yard looking for alcohol because he thinks he's hidden it outside. Truth be told, we gave all his stash to the 21-year-old living in my aunt's basement suite. So it was gone. We made sure to get rid of everything. And then he asked for a ride back to the hospital and they scolded him and they put security outside his door. So he never got out again. He went into rehab and he's been sober ever since. It's a real fascinating thing with my uncle. Once he locks in on something, he does it to the umpth degree. So if he's going to be sober, he's sober. If he's going to be touching liquor, it's liquor. So it's really fascinating to watch. He's really set, you know. So here's an example. If something washes over you or it says, come on, we need your help here. Come on, go. Say something. Speak up. It's really, really important to do that. I'm not going to sit and be paranoid about things. But if the moment arises where others are joining in to speak up about something and I feel drawn to go, or if I'm with someone in my close proximity and I feel guided to say something, then I will. Too many of us are sitting back on our laurels, and this has allowed the 1%ers who run the show, and they've been doing it for quite some time. What would you like to say for those of us that would like to stay positive and we don't want to fixate at all on anything that's happening on Earth right now and not watch the news, not look at anything, be totally fine if rent doubles, groceries go up further, gas goes up further, and possibly our bank accounts controlled by digital currency? What would you say about that, Archangel Michael? Because if you hang back on your laurels, then they take the reign. I mean, if there's ever an example of this, it would be the Canadians thinking that everything's going to be okay and those in power have our best interests at heart, and then running our country into the ground over the past 8 years. Justin Trudeau introducing and implementing his best friends into power. This is happening. It's happening right now. And so what would you say to anyone like that? Ignorance is bliss. Turn your cheek if you wish, if you must. But remember this. He's showing me a hand gesture of things getting really rough and rocky in the future for a time. And if you feel guided to look, to pay attention, to listen, and to speak up, please do so. In the interim, if you wish to turn your cheek, not notice, then you may do so. But he's cracking a joke and saying that you'd have to be living under a rock not to notice what's going on. Okay, yeah. Sometimes being too nice isn't always best, is it? Nothing will teach you that more than the past 7 years for me. I came out the gate being really nice, and I am nice, okay? But when people push your boundaries or treat you accordingly, sometimes you have to hold your boundaries, sometimes you have to speak up, sometimes you have to say something. Letting people always get their way or enabling people all the time isn't always best. You're not helping them. He's talking about the time is near, and I can feel the energy of what he's sharing with me. It's if it was right near, it would be here, but it's about right there. So what does that tell me? We're at about maybe a month out, 2 months, 2, 1, 2. Okay, so we're about 2 months out, okay, from whatever this is coming. Okay, go ahead. And he's giving me this hand gesture of bumpier days ahead. He wants us to note that not everything you see we consider to be bad. Remember that, please. Sometimes some things there is no other way other than sloughing something off, getting rid of something, or big shifts or changes taking place in order for another path to be presented. Sometimes there has to be friction in order to produce another path. If the mindsets were more open in your elitists and willing to engage, participate, listen, communicate, work with one another, love one another, we would be having a completely different conversation. But we're not, and that's not where we're at. So we're about 2 months out from this next path unfolding, and now he's got his hands together and he would like to say a prayer. May each of you be protected, taken care of, watched over by myself, God, and each of your teams in all ways. And so it is, now and always. Archangel Michael. Thank you, Kristin. All right, there we have it. And we are, and so it is. This or something even better. That's what I like to add on the end. Have a wonderful weekend, and I'll see you soon. Bye.